here. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Matteo Chiarini. I'm from COISPA Foundation. And this afternoon, I'm gonna talk to you about the social acceptability of management measures, in particular the fishery restricted area, within the Adriatic region. So just to give you a brief overview about the fishery management and governance in the Mediterranean Sea, here I report some example, but we already talked about that a lot of the management target, so the European Biodiversity Strategy, but also the GFCN 2030 strategy. On the right, I report some management tools and policy, like the Common Fishery Policy, the Multi-Annual Management Plan, and also the more common used management tool like Fisheries Restricted Area and Marine Protected Area implemented over the Mediterranean Sea. And these two main elements are basically flowing into the General Fishery Commission for the Mediterranean, which is the main authority in the Med, but is a very complex framework. So we just, from a spatial point of view, we have many different units, 5 units here are represented with different colors, and also there are involved many European Union members, but also not European members. So this is increased the complexity of this framework. So the work I'm going to present to you is within the Deliverable 2.8, which is targeting the improving of our understanding of the interaction between social actors within fishery management. And were developed many sub-regional case studies. As I told before, we are focusing on the Adriatic. Here on the right, I want to just put some, just to give you an overview of all the current fishery restricted areas implemented in the Mediterranean Sea. We have 11 fishery restricted areas, 3 of them are within the Adriatic, so it's one of the rivers why I give you this example in this area. So this work was done with 2 different approaches. The first one was a qualitative approach aimed to mapping all the action through the carefully review of recommendation, resolution, and all the documents. And this was aimed to define the key actors and the key management decisions behind the establishment of a fishery restricted area in the Med. While another qualitative approach we perform after these mappings is through questionnaires to collect all the views of the stakeholders to assess the effectiveness and the acceptance of these management decisions. So the key result of the first mapping process was, as I told, to define the key actors that I put here on the right. I can use this? No. And we see all the key actors starting from the GSCM, European Member Commission, Member States, scientists, non-governmental organizations, etc. And all these actors can directly impact, very cool, these characters. So the first one, this was a map, it should be. And in the first square, there's a FRA proposal, which is an ad hoc form developed within the GFCM framework over the years, and is aimed to define the main relevant information to establish a FRA. This box, very cryptic, come to the second green one, which was supposed to represent the sub-regional committee, in this case the Adriatic Sea one, which is the scientific and technical body for the consultation. And the last 2 are the Scientific Advisory Committee for Fishery, and the last one was the committee to the institutional consultation. So this is a very straightforward process that come the fishery restricted area to an establishment. So these are, just to give you a brief example, we can see the slide this time. And we have on the right the simple timetable of this is the first implemented fishery restricted area in the Adriatic Sea, the Yabu Pit FRA. And I just want to give you a view on the time. So how many time we need to have a fishery restricted area, which was the first in the Adriatic, and also which are the main criticism over the process, which I just want to highlight the socioeconomic, the missing of socioeconomic aspect. That's why when we come to the second Fisheries Restricted Area, the Barry Canyon one, we see that this missing of socioeconomic studies was again an aspect that was missing at the early stage of the proposal of this type of FRA, which was then implemented in 2021, and we see that the time in this case is shorter. The last one implemented Fisheries Restricted Area in the Adriatic Sea is the Otterson Channel, the newest one. And also in this case, we see that the process was pretty much straightforward with a good time in compared to the first one example. And also in this case, the first proposal will miss some aspect, including the socioeconomic one, which is something like a nightmare for the assessment of the establishment of the FRA. And it is very important because was discussed many times all over the process after many discussions involving every stakeholders and organization. And finally, we reach the establishment with a recommendation of this fisheries restricted area. Now, I just want to pass to the second part of the work, so the result of the questionnaire, so we can put all the points together. So basically, we have we build once we have defined the key actor, we build this questionnaire, letting the possibility to add free text. We have a good responder scores, more of 50% answers, and we just developed this questionnaire trying to build into different macro group of results, the effectiveness of the management measures and acceptance. And I try to summarize some indicator of good governance, mostly are promoted from the FAO with these two macro groups. So for the first macro group, the result of the effectiveness, the margins was positive, because all the respondents, or the majority, they strongly agree in considering the fisheries restricted area as an effective spatial management measures. And I report in here some free text from the stakeholders, and I want to put your attention on the NGO one, which is for me is very important because, okay, we have a good collaboratory process among the stakeholders, and this is important also because they are highlighting that these NGO representatives highlight that also the scientific aspect was well informed, which is something that is difficult when we talk with non-scientific bodies within the process. And on the other side, we see also that some of these intergovernmental representatives said that the FRA have to be included in a wider management system to be effective. And this is pretty much linked with some of the criticism of this part of the result of the questionnaire, which is that the decision process was considered sometimes quite long. And here we can start to think about this trade-off between the time that we need to establish, in this case, a fishery management area, and on the other side, the need of a participatory process that need time to get all the bodies involved in the process of establishing management action. So these are the second group of results about acceptance. Generally, all the responses think that the governance process is conducted in a well, transparent and inclusive manner, which is good. And all the key actors are involved in the different steps. So the participation aspect is a good indicator of a good governance in this case. However, some criticism was raised about the responsibility in particular. So some interviewers were highlighted that the need to enhance surveillance protocol, for example, and there are need for further evaluation, maybe based on the negotiation among different stakeholders, etc. And as last slide, I just give you to summarize all the main conclusions. So we see that the Mediterranean framework is very complex, involving several bodies. We see that this process to establish management action, in particular fisheries restricted area, was adapted over the time, and this help us to reduce the time that was I see that we see that many stakeholders argue that the time was long, but we are improving, and we see on the different case studies that I reported. And also we have, as a result, a good participatory process. So we have principle of inclusiveness, transparencies are well represented. And as criticism, despite the time, we have the subsidiarity, so the process a process that could be further adapted, and also the responsibility, like as I said before, the need to enhance surveillance protocol more. So as take home message to conclude this brief talk, with these 3 established fisheries areas in the Adriatic Sea, we can see that we reach a good object in terms of management, because it's the area within the Med with the larger coverage of fisheries area. And on the other side, it can be a good example also to use this type of framework also for other area, not only in the Mediterranean Sea, but maybe also all over the seas. So thank you very much for the attention.